Okay, this is something else about reading tarot cards. And usually when people think of the tarot, often when people talk about the tarot, write about the tarot, they're talking about unlocking the mystical power of the tarot, right? Something like that, or divining the secrets of a person's life, or gaining insight into the universe, or stuff like that. You know, it's all kind of out there. But I want to say that it's not like that, or it doesn't have to be, the tarot doesn't have to be treated as if it was some kind of magical repository of all knowledge and you need special power to access it. It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be psychic or intuitive or mystical. So if it's not mysticism or psychism, and they're kind of specialized ways of looking at the world, mysticism, or with psychism, it's maybe skills that we can develop. So if it's not mysticism or psychism, what is it? And I want to say that the tarot is art. If you rearrange the letters of the word tarot, you're going to find to art. And I'm going to give you some examples of this, of art, in a minute. So when I say art, though, you might be a bit intimidated or think this video is not for you because you don't know much about art, okay? But if you keep watching, I'm going to show you 3 paintings, and you're going to see how easy it is to make sense of them or to translate the images in the picture into actions or activities that, if followed, can make a difference in the life of a questioner. And so my position in this video, and generally with the tarot, is I'm going to be saying that in a reading, what you do is you paint a picture in the mind or the imagination of the questioner. And the thing is, the picture stays with them after the reading so that they know what to do, or they know how to handle the situation that they asked about, because the reader deals with pictures and illustrations, and there can be a more complete understanding than you get with words or phrases that the questioner has to remember. They do say that a picture paints 1,000 words, so I'm suggesting that we take advantage of this and work with it. Because the thing is, with a picture, it's a whole image, it's a whole series of understandings that you get, but you may not be able to recall word for word what somebody said. But it's an awful lot easier to bring back, or to bring to mind, an atmosphere, right, from a picture, or a signpost that you saw, or that somebody pointed out to you. So I'm saying that the tarot is art. And so let me mention 3 visual artists. The first is Howard Hodgkin, and this is an example of the kind of work that he does. So it's colourful, and it creates a mood or an atmosphere. It's a bit like the green earth and a radiant sky seen through a window. And it's kind of dramatic and energetic. And maybe the rectangle around the outside makes it focused or concentrated because the action's taking place inside some kind of container. Right? So if this image were the solution to a problem, and if it shows what to do, then the questioner should concentrate. I'm thinking of the square around, or the rectangle around the picture. So concentrate and don't allow yourself to be distracted, because there's a lot of energy building up, right? We can see this in the picture, and they're going to be able to use this energy, and it's going to carry them along. So be ready to act and be prepared for opportunities that are going to come along soon. Okay? The painting seems to be immediate, right? It's sort of there and in the moment. So be ready to go with the flow when it all starts to move. So you may not be telling them that on Tuesday the 14th at 7:25 in the morning, you're going to get a phone call, right? And so on. That might appear to be useful information, but looking at what's going on in the picture, the question has been alerted to the situation they're going to go through, and they can take advantage of it and make use of what they already know at that moment. And how they act is going to be automatic. They don't have to stop and wonder, was it Tuesday or Thursday? And was it 7:25 in the morning or 7:25 at night? Right? Because when you start thinking about what you were told, there are doubts, or there's uncertainty, and this doubt can get in the way. You can get in your own way for no good reason. So this second painting is by Piet Mondrian. And again, there's only a few colours. We've got white, blue, yellow and black. But it's very different from Howard's work, since this one seems structured and organised, because you get various bits and pieces neatly arranged in rectangles. In some ways it seems more thought out. I don't want to say thoughtful, because Howard thought a lot before he painted his picture as well. So, if this painting by Mondrian were a card and it showed a solution, then we might tell the questioner to be organised and have an overall plan. Right, I'm thinking of the whole grid. Okay, so you need an overall plan, an overall structure, right? So know in advance as well what some of the details of the plan are going to be, because you've got yellow and blue areas inside their own lines. Right, so you know generally where you're going, and you know specifically what to do under certain circumstances or with certain types of people or situations or relationships or whatever it happens to be. So, it's been a couple of minutes since you looked at the Howard picture, and you've probably got an impression of it, even if you didn't like it much. And I'm sure that the Mondrian image is going to stick in your mind for a bit. And I think you can see the sense of the suggestions that each picture makes about how to act. So a third picture, and this one is by Johannes Vermeer, and it shows somebody at a table looking at a globe. There's light shining in the window and the shadows on the wall. It's lifelike and representational. And there's a lot of detail that you're going to be able to see if you've got a better reproduction than this one. So, if this card is the answer, what do? Looking at the globe, you understand that things are moving and changing, because the globe is the Earth and it's rotating, even though in the picture it's still. So, you should understand that things are not going to stand still. Be aware of this and think about how things will develop or can develop, or how things cannot develop in the future. And you're going to be in a stronger position to deal with whatever you're going to deal with. Because looking at the focus of the picture is on, or the man is on the globe. And it's as if the future that's going to come into being, that's what's important. So the man is ignoring most of what else is in the room. So the advice to the questioner can be, don't be distracted by what might want your attention. Right? So if we take the tarot as art approach, then when we turn a card, we're not trying to remember a particular, apparently correct meaning. We're not looking for some kind of mystical significance in the card. We're not going to talk about this astrological significance, partly because we don't know much astrology in any case. We're just going to be normal and ordinary and talk about the picture and what it shows, so we can paint something in the mind of the questioner, so that when they leave the reading, when they leave us and go back into their life, they've got something they can draw on for information and for their own guidance. And that's valuable and useful for the questioner, who now, I think, is going to have a better chance of being independent and making better decisions. So those are three paintings. If we now look at a card, and as an example, let's take a look at the Three of Batons, right? So we look at it as a picture, and we see somebody standing on a high hill, looking into the distance where there are some ships. They may just be setting out on their journey, or they may be returning safely home. We don't know. So, no matter what the question, with the Three of Batons in the answer, you have to be patient, and you have to let things run their course. If the ships are returning, you're going to know quite soon how things will be or how things went. And if they're just setting out, you're going to have to be patient for an awful lot longer, right? So let time pass. Focus on other things that you can influence, because there's not a lot you can do with this one, because the ships are out at sea and it's up to the weather, you know, and storms and the rest of it to determine whether there's going to be a successful conclusion or not. So let's say you've got a question about marriage. This Three of Batons is generally a good card, right? So if the question's about marriage, we can say this is a good card. So something good or good news is going to happen quite soon. But if it doesn't, because we don't know if the ships are setting out or coming back, if something good doesn't happen quite soon, leave it alone. Forget about it. Focus your attention on other areas of life and make them better. so that you'll find that later, when the ships come back, when the ships come in, they're going to bring good news and benefits with them. But there's no point in trying to force matters or to get to a conclusion before it's time, because the ships are at sea. If you try to control matters, you're just going to get in your own way. So patience is, in this case, a virtue. If this Three of Batons is reversed, it's still a good card, right? But something isn't quite right, or something is going to be difficult, or there's going to be a glitch, right? So maybe we'd say, be ready for disappointment, because the good news, either it's going to take longer to arrive than you want, or it's not going to be as good as you want or expect. So it's less than you were expecting, and that can cause disappointment. It's not an indication that everything is going to come tumbling around your ears. You're going to be left with a mess and a terrible situation. It's not like that, because it's a good card to begin with. It's more like, let's say you want a raise. You're going to get 10%, not the 15% that you wanted. So the 10% is still pretty good. It's still okay. So be glad of what you do get, of the benefits that you do receive, or count your blessings, or see the 10% raise as a step in a good direction, or a step in the right direction. It's not the end of the journey. Later you can apply for another raise, and because you've got a proven track record, you're going to get 20% next time. So with reading the tarot, I'm saying that we can be ourselves and be normal and ordinary. And if we can read cards, and we don't need to know astrology or numerology or the Kabbalah or some kind of other system. But I get the impression often that people who don't know how to make sense of cards, they talk about introducing astrology and the elements, and instead of looking at a card, what is its element? What is its astrological significance? And I think a lot of people do this so that they can sound like they know what they're talking about, but it's just jargon. On the other hand, if you keep it simple, you'll be fine. But if you start talking in areas that you don't understand, you're going to get stuck and you're going to get bent out of shape, but you won't want to see it that way. Try the tarot as art approach and let me know how it's working for you. You're a lot better at reading than you think you are, or that you give yourself credit for. You already know a lot, and the art approach will enable you to make a connection with the knowledge that you already have, and to be able to pass it on to the questioner, and this, I think, is a good thing. So next is supposed to be a video about the beginning of the series on the Celtic Cross, unless something else turns up in the meantime, but otherwise I'm thinking next is going to be the Celtic Cross, position number 1. Thank you.